My black belt's Derek Krantz. He's a UFC veteran. Brock knows him. Like he's a very crafty MMA fighter, but he's like I would say of all my black belts, he has the smallest array of techniques, but he's the most precise with what he's gonna do. You know, like he's almost unstoppable on certain things. I don't care if I'm a coach, I don't care if they're bigger than him, I don't care if they're younger. He's a savage. I begged him to go to Nogi Worlds. He's one of those dudes that will just mop the floor with us, you know what I'm saying? But so from my guys, Brock's taught me stuff. Different black belts, brown belts, purple belts, whatever, have taught me stuff. This is something I got from him, okay? I'm gonna combine this with the butterfly guard sweep that we're doing. I'm gonna combine it and just explain a technique, okay? Come back over on this side, Brock. So we have what we call the ghost pass side control, the ghost pass Darce, okay? Or what I used to call the Glover, because I learned this from Jeff Glover back in the day in Hollywood. And so I called it that on my DVDs back in the day on a DVD called Fade to Black. So if I had this underhook and I had this overhook, there's different variations of grips. But if I were to spin out like this, guys, I can collect his head, come over here, now I start to chase the Darce, and I'm here. Where I originally learned that was like in half guard, and Glover would just like put his hand on his ribs and give up this underhook, and then they would like underhook and crossface, and then they'd want to pass the guard, he'd start cutting his knee through, and then Glover's already gone, you know, and you can come up to the front headlock, you can spin out, or you can chase the Darce from your back, right? So there's that movement. I already had that movement in my head. I understood that. There's the side control in the half guard version. And then there's a moment in time, if Brock could just post, there's a moment in time where I'm not quite crushed, right? And Derek, being an MMA fighter, is like, he's not gonna just always do this or just frame and accept guard. He'll still oop, scoot, boogie, and get out and use that whizzer and try and come up to wrestle on top. So it's definitely not something I'm gonna try and do when Brock is like head and arm and I'm not gonna try and get out with my whizzer. That's not the moment in time. I have the space, right? So I have enough space to scoot out the back. So, but it's really good. Sometimes you could be pushing the hip or coming out. As he pushes in, you keep pushing in, chase me, Brock, I'm like, you see what I'm saying? So I don't have a perfect grip on his tricep or anything. It's like a whipped whizzer almost. But now I want you to picture me rolling here. We're in the same position I was just in, right? I was in this position. Whether his hands came forward, right? Or I had enough space on this run, you can always throw your legs out this way and collect his head, right? It really just depends on your space that you have from your opponent, right? So I just kind of want you guys to play with all of them. Just understand it real quick. Then like, if I have a wizard and an underhook, so we're not here, that I can come, there's a whole class and all kinds of gnarly little tricks I got here. I'm not getting into all that. It's more the concept of this spin than it is the Darce itself, right? So I can come out this way, and then eventually I like to collect his head. I don't like to shoot the Darce or get the Darce from here. I like to collect his head, because from here, Brock wants to posture up, and once he does that, I don't have his elbow choking him across his neck. So when he's on his elbow, I want to make my hips and my hands touch. So I'm covering his arm and his head. Then I'll inch my way out. Then I'll start getting to here. Or I just use it to come up to the front headlock. And I come all the way out, right? So you can use it in either fashion. I have that Glover, right? Jeff Glover, you guys look him up. Awesome dude from Southern California. But also some people call this the ghost pass, because like, got ghosted, right? And so then I have the version also where I'm here, I'm posting on the hip or the elbow, he's driving in a little bit, and I come up and I whiz it through, and I come all the way up on top. It's just a little grip. Some of you guys use that wrestling. And so, feels like a wrestling. And then last but not least, we just combine it with a little bit of extra space just to open some eyes for some guys. So like if I made it out past him, and maybe his hand was a little bit more shallow, and I had a position, or maybe I was square, and I felt the opportunity to swing this way, I'm always gonna do that. I like to collect his head, and then I can boom and knock him over. Does that make sense, guys? You go to mount from there and all that, but I like to collect his head, all right? That's pretty much it. Oh no, you can combine it with the grip that we did today as well. So we noticed at first when I was making the distance, you got Brock's arm here that may get in the way of a swinging leg. But when I get here, boom, my legs are free to travel. And I'm sitting up, like my head's above his head. So it's kind of a different catch than the other ones, you know, and I can start locking up from here or here, or again, I can turn on my hips and start fighting the front headlock. Does that, it's like a gray area. It's kind of hard to teach gray areas, but you guys get the concept what I was teaching? So you can do it from the bottom. You can try the ghost pass. You can do the little whizzer and make space. When I learned that whizzer from Derek, he was kind of pushing on this hip, right? And then you want to like get to this elbow and I'm scooting this hip out. If I can do this, oh, we're money. Now we're in a fundamental dogfight. So, you know, you got all that right there too, right? And then you got coming out, but his pressure is what makes him get whipped and put on. His weight goes forward and I come up. Play with it. Let's have one person do it so they can take their time playing with it. And I'll set the clock for 4 and then the other person can play with it, okay? Ready, set.